Oh, yeah, baby. Welcome back, Patriots, to the Bald Brad Show. It is Monday. We are just that much closer to, heck, the upcoming election, folks. And let me tell you, we got a lot of big news to cover today. Nothing regarding me, all regarding, well, what the hell's going on with this country? And the question is, who is going to save the country? Is it going to be Kamala because that's what she's espousing? Is it going to be Donald Trump because he did it once? Can he do it again? Folks, this is one of the biggest elections of our lifetime, and we got a range of people. Maybe not so much PT 302 because the man has been around for a damn while, and we want him around for that much longer, folks. But look, this election, man, is really going to dictate a lot of freaking things because this country is not going in the right direction. I don't think even Democrats believe it's going in the right direction, but because they're so insane, they're going to continue to vote for the direction that's driving us into the ground. So let's jump right in the news, folks. I'll tell you what, you guys are all queued up, man. You guys are ready to go. I mean, the second I hit that live button, you guys were in here, ready to go. So we got to bring you the news. Well, I don't know if you saw over the weekend, but Joey had a little bit of a tantrum. Joey had a little bit of an upsie. And what was that? Well, he lost track of what the hell he was doing. Now, this isn't really news. This is, quite often for Joe. And I've always said, if this type of stuff comes out in front of everybody, can you imagine what it's like behind closed doors with this guy? Remember, the old rumors were that he was yelling, cussing at his staffers. People didn't know what to do. Everybody's walking on eggshells around this guy. Well, he loses track of the event and he yells, "Who's next?" Like he's Batman. I swear this guy somehow thinks he's living in a DC Comics book. I have the clip for you. He completely forgets the agenda. You guys, they have meetings about this. They do prep work. They sit there and tell him, "Hey, sir, this is what's going to work. This is how things are going to happen." Folks, I wouldn't be surprised in his breast pocket if he has a pamphlet that lays out every single thing. We all saw it. Everybody used to walk in meetings going, breathe, sit down, blink, it's just like, so here he is.
So I want to thank you all for being here. Now, who am I introducing next? Who's next?
Distinguished guests, the Prime Minister of the Republic of India.
Holy lordy. Who's next? I'm Batman. I'm gonna save Gotham. What's going on, Speed? Speed, I feel like I haven't seen you in a while, brother. Have you just been watching and not in the live chat? It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you. Good to have you back, too, if that is the case. Well, that was him losing his mind. We also have the Secret Service is struggling to protect presidents, won't see immediate end, even with more manpower. This comes from a retired agent, folks. The Secret Service protects Trump, Obama, Bush, Clinton families of vast properties in Florida, Hawaii, Maine, Texas, and other locations, meaning they're basically making the claim that, hey, we're spread thin. You can give us all the agents you want. We don't have it. PT 302 is out on the boat. Oh, love that. I want to be out on a boat. That sounds nice. The U.S. Secret Service has dozens of people to protect across numerous properties across the country as the embattled agency struggles with multiple threats to its protectees, including 2 failed attempts on the life of President Trump. The Secret Service is responsible for protecting up to 40 individuals, folks, including all current and former presidents, vice presidents, and their spouses. It's an unsustainable mission without more manpower, one former agent says. Well, we all knew that. Look, we don't want to just throw money at a broken system. That is literally the entirety of government. That's all they do is throw money at a broken system. It's not going to make an immediate impact. We need legislation or an executive order to reform the agency. We got a lot of people in the military. Is there no reason as to why we can't move or shift military personnel to protecting maybe the other people and then putting the Secret Service in with other people as well? Can we not intermix them in some way, shape, or I mean, we have a vast military, folks. I understand we're struggling to fill quotas because the Democrat Party loves to destroy things. The Democrats can't wake up to that, but that's for another talking point and another time. Some other news, like I said, folks, we're bringing you a variety today of big news. Sorry, I was hearing audio for some reason. Detroit public schools bring out the latest weapon, an arsenal to fight chronic absenteeism. I feel like they could have maybe chosen a better headline from Fox, to be honest. I really do. Okay. They could have chosen a better headline with this one. I don't know if they try to be punny or funny or dark or what, but folks, this is real. Jesus, I can't even believe we're covering this. Now, ever since the pandemic, there has been a massive issue in the education system with getting students to show up to school. More than half of Detroit public schools are now having laundry machines, folks. I'm not kidding. What the hell? There's no way this is real, Brad. Steep payouts, ice cream, mini breaks, and laundry machines? Schools are incentivizing kids to come to class as chronic absenteeism remains a major post-pandemic concern, but the lattermost taking effect in Detroit public schools. Might sound a bit unconventional without context. Quote, I had the opportunity to come to school and wash my son's clothes. We're now paying people's bills, basically their water bills, to sit there and clean their kids' clothes. This comes from a parent whose son is a senior at a local high school where she works as a security guard. Quote, I don't stay in an apartment, and it's hard for me sometimes to put money on the card because they close at a certain time. The machines found their way into local schools thanks for the help of Detroit Public Schools Foundation and a charitable donation and a GE Appliances investment. Willis said installing the washers and dryers helps kids from less privileged households, including one who has no running water at home and is bullied regularly. Well, that's not good. Now, if the school knows this kid's being bullied regularly, then why don't you expel the kids that are bullying the kid? Again, it's folks, do you look, it's always an easy solution. As I've mentioned, we talked about this on Saturday, is that you are going to sacrifice the education of others for the education of those that don't even care about the education in the first place and would rather be knuckleheads. And until you actually implement some sort of drastic consequences, this is going to continue. And I chose this article specifically because it's silly, right? I mean, we're putting laundry machines now in schools to get people to show up to school. Is just insane to me. I bring this up because you are currently seeing in real time in your lifetime the fall of the republic. And I really do mean this. You are seeing the collapse of the United States of America in real time. It's just happening very, very, very slowly. I've always said, for those that are longtime viewers of the Bald Brad Show, you are seeing the collapse of the republic. The question is how long can we delay it? It's not a matter of if it will happen. It is a matter of when it will happen at this time. Your liberties are slowly being stripped away. Your freedoms are slowly being stripped away. I pray to our Lord and Savior that it does not happen in my lifetime. And I really do mean this, you guys. This is not me being extremist and alarmist. I really do mean this. And this is Republicans' fault too. This is all politicians' fault as well as us for voting for these idiots. This stuff has gone way too far. When you denigrate the education system, you denigrate the American people. What I mean by that is the intelligence level, to be able to critically think, to formulate coherent thoughts and sentences. You're seeing this now at a point where you see these young politicians, they can't answer basic questions. Either they're doing it on purpose or they legitimately don't know how to answer basic questions. When you have this taking place, folks, it unravels everything else. You are seeing the fall of the republic in real time. And I also want to point out is this has everything to do with individualism. What I mean by that is the Democrat Party, the politicians, American society has removed personal responsibility and individualism from our society. It has always been that way, folks. It has always been that way. It starts with the individual and everything else is an outgrowth from that. If you don't value your education, then that current present time that you don't value it is ultimately going to have outgrowths or consequences to said present time. But nobody wants to talk about that. It has to be somebody else's fault constantly in every avenue of life, by the way. I'm just using education as an example. Let's go down to credit cards. Well, it's somebody's fault because I paid for something that I couldn't afford. And so I decided to put on a credit card at a 30% interest rate. Well, it's somebody else's fault that I bought a house that I should have never bought in the first place because I wasn't expecting interest rates to go up or I wasn't expecting this or that. Well, I wasn't expecting this person to do said thing that ultimately did said thing, and now I'm going to blame them for the actions that I did. It's always somebody else's fault. You notice that? It's never actually the person's fault for their decision making. In the same way here, in this specific article, at no point is it the parent's fault or the child's fault. It's the administration's fault for not being able to get the kid to school. Well, if you don't go to school, then there's going to be some lasting consequences for that, and that sucks and it's terrible, because you would hope that the parents would get their kids to school. But it's a massive issue, you guys. There are school systems, and I mean this in all literal sense, there are school systems out there, you can do the research yourself, that there's not a single student that's actually proficient in math and English. Now, you might be thinking, well, Brad, there has to be one. No, we covered it. There are some school systems, and I mean this in all literal sense. When I say nobody, I mean you will not be able to set foot and find a single individual, one, that is actually proficient in math and English. But that's the education system's fault. See, that's a school's fault. It's not the fact that, oh, well, we have a vast swath of a thing called the internet and AI to teach you everything nowadays. It's everybody else's fault. The fact that some people are illiterate in say, mathematics or English, that's somebody else's fault. The fact that people, again, do all these knucklehead things, that's somebody else's fault. Yeah. See, the reason why also I want to bring this up in the fall of the Republic, again, that's what we're talking about today, the most important election of our lifetime, is because Donald Trump wants to change those things, right? He doesn't want to trans your kids. He doesn't want to sit there and indoctrinate them in the education system. He doesn't want to do all these things. But we need to ultimately change that as a society as well. Well, San Francisco might not be a liberal city anymore as progressive mayoral candidate is underdog, says LA Times. Now, voters are irked. You got to, again, everything today is intertwined, and it always is. Voters are irked by crime, drug use, and remain shaken from the COVID pandemic. Folks, California is going to vote Kamala in again. We could have had Larry Elder fix all this. These people are going to vote for Gavin Newsom again in the future. When we try to get his ass out of office, they put him back in. Now we're trying to remove Prop 47 and put forth, I think it's Prop 36. They don't want to do that. It's so head spinning. San Francisco is known as a reliably liberal city to most of America. But Los Angeles Times editor believes there are signs the city by the Bay has swung to the center. I don't know about that. Voters are sick of rising crime rates and ramped up drug use and remain shaken from COVID-era shutdowns. That was like 5 years ago. It was really like 3.5, 4, but y'all know what I mean. It's just amazing that, again, now they're sick of it. It shows you that if you want to change people's votes, if you want to swing their votes, they have to actually feel the impact. And again, it comes back to people not being able to see the consequences or the outgrowths or the ramification of said vote or thing that they are doing. Republicans have always been like, hey, if you vote for this, this is what's going to happen. Example, Prop 47, or example, closing down the school system, or many other examples. And then they are shocked. They are bewildered. It's a remarkable thing. Bewildered. Like they couldn't even wrap their head around it, going, how did he do that? How did the Republicans call that? And then remember, during that whole time, they're calling us conspiracy theorists, right? We're the crazies. We're the weirdos. We're the ones that can't rationalize this. We're sitting there beating down the minorities, I guess. Whatever the hell stuff they say. Well, now you have rising crime. Businesses are going out of business. They're fleeing the area. You're hollowing out the city. And this is not the first time this has happened, folks. This is not the first time. Crime, drug use, homelessness, rising taxes, property tax, expenses, electricity, fuel, all this stuff has risen in Democrat areas and has carved out inner cities. It's not the first. Look at every Democrat-ran city. It's being hollowed out or has been hollowed out in the past. And they will still vote Democrat. I've always shared this story of these on-the-street interviews where this individual went to an area, and I forget what it was, what the area's name was. But there's these women. Folks, this area has ever in the history of this country ever seen a Republican run it. It's always been a Democrat, and it's being destroyed. And these people are holding signs going, Republicans are going to destroy this country in our area. And so they get interviewed going, hey, why are you not going to vote for Republicans? And then they said the same thing, right? They're going to destroy our locality. And somebody had to bring them the news that you've never had a Republican anywhere in this locality. And it's turning into a dumpster fire. Like you actually have nothing to lose. You are better off probably taking a gamble on a Republican than you are continuing your insanity and voting for a Democrat. And they said there's no way they would ever vote for a Republican because they're going to destroy their city even further. Again, I don't know what happened to the world. I don't know what happened to society. I don't know what's going on. And I'm not even saying I'm right about everything, but I would like to hopefully apply a little bit of common sense of going, well, hey, if your party's not running the direction that you would like, you probably don't need to keep voting for them, or don't vote at the top of the ticket at all. If a Republican was riding my area into the ground, and by the way, Orange County's a lot better than Los Angeles County Democrats, because Orange County's ran by Republicans. That's why I live in Orange County. I don't live in Los Angeles County because it's terrible. Well, I wouldn't continue to vote for said Republican, would I? Because they wouldn't be able to do their job. I'm not beholden to the Republican Party. I'm not beholden to any party. I'm sitting there voting for somebody that's a tool to carry out what I want. And what I want is more liberties and freedoms, not just for myself, but for my fellow Americans, regardless if they're Democrat or Republican. I don't care. But, San Francisco is somehow shifting center. We'll see. I'll believe it when I see it. That place is so progressive, it is head spinning. It truly is, folks. I hope you're having a good time. If you could, folks, and a way that you can support us is by just hitting that like button. It really does help, and it pushes the algorithm to send our videos out there to new viewers who haven't seen our content or our channel. And we know how ScrewTube is sitting there suppressing us. Oh, bigly. Folks, we have 65,000 subscribers. They're pumping out like 20 views an hour for us. I'm not kidding, by the way. That's a real stat, by the way. We have 2,000 videos, and we're getting 20 views an hour out of YouTube with 65,000 subscribers. Yeah, let that one sink in. But I'm not going to go on a rant about that. You guys heard enough of me about complaining about YouTube, and I hear the complaints on your guys' too, so I appreciate it. Now, here's kind of something that nobody really talks about, including us, and that's why I want to bring it up, is you had Donald Trump assassinations, right? You had 2 of them that we know about, multiple plots. The Iranians want to get rid of him. The Middle East wants to get rid of him. All these people want to get rid of Donald Trump. And the thing is that, yeah, they've gone after him, and they're trying to up his security detail, which we'll get to in one moment. But here's one thing that Trump said himself, and I actually do agree with this, and as I think anybody would. Trump says he's worried about his family's safety following assassination attempts. This is something that I think a lot of people kind of put on the back burner, is that, hey, he has a lot of kids. He has a lot of grandkids. The man has a huge family. Who's protecting them? Former President Donald Trump said in an interview that airs tonight that he is worried about the safety of his family and others after he survived 2 assassination attempts over the last few months. Trump's remarks to Fox News host Brian Kilmeade, who, by the way, has great books. He has some of my favorite books. If you haven't read his books, go grab them. Come after he was shot in the head in mid-July during a rally. Isn't it amazing that it was only a couple months ago and we're pretending like this never happened? Like, you can count on 2 hands the amount of presidents that had an assassination attempt on their life or were assassinated, and Democrats just memory pull it. It's as if it never took place. And then he gets another assassination attempt on his life just the other week, and still nobody talks about it. And so he says, I do. Trump said when asked if he was worried about his family's safety, I don't talk about it, but I do. I have to worry about family. I have to worry about everybody. I worry about you. Look at that. I worry about you. I mean, the title today, folks, is big news, the most important election of our lifetime, and who's going to save America? To be quite frank, to answer your question now, it's that man. It's this man right here. The guy puts his life on the line. It's remarkable to me that the mainstream media sits there and puppets this idea that Kamala Harris is showing up to work. She's the one that's going to sit there and stand up for you. This guy's taking a bullet to the head for America. This guy has taken everything. The entire deep state have gone after this guy and his family for 8 years, almost a decade and a couple years, nonstop. This is the guy that's going to save the country, not the bimbo that can't get a coherent thought out of her head, just like her boss, Joe Biden. What is it with Democrats for not being able to speak coherently about things? I don't understand that. Do you know how we do an hour-long show early in the morning, right? We wake up at the butt crack of dawn, barely know what the hell's going on. We're half sleepy. You don't see me sitting there going, well, you're going to be unburdened by what has been, right? And these stupid ass word salads. We just sit here and try our best to speak coherently. It is difficult at times because you're still trying to wake up, meaning me as well as you. And I don't get it. Like, look at jean-pierre, $180,000. Put me on that podium. $180,000. All right, I'll answer your damn questions. I don't give a shit. Like, hey, what is Joe Biden's cognitive health declining? Yeah, it looks like it. And then you get fired. Hey, whatever. At least you got the truth out there. Yeah, no, Joey's health is, well, he's gone. You should see him behind closed doors. Poo-poo's his diaper. It smells like doo-doo around the White House constantly. It smells like a baby's freaking room. Yeah, no. Donald Trump's going to save this country. It ain't going to be Kamala Harris. No damn way. Democrats, well, why do you say that? Look what's going on. Like, it's as if you can't sit there and just sit back for a moment and just look at the world and tell me that it's better than it was. And they go, well, it's better than COVID. Okay, yes, things aren't shut down. Let's talk about what Trump actually did while he was president. You know, what you can't do anything, regardless of who is president, when a foreign government sits there and unleashes a freaking virus upon the world. It's not Donald Trump's fault. He inherited that and he had to fix it. I shouldn't say he inherited, but in a way he did, right, from China. So again, still no penalties on China, which is a remarkable thing. We've been talking about that since COVID on here, by the way. Where is the world at on this? How is the world unleashes all this stuff against the United States in terms of, oh, well, you got to be better. You're committing war crimes. You're doing this or that. But China sits there and kills millions of people. Nothing happens to them. By the way, they still have the Uyghurs in camps. Nothing happens to them. They're still doing gain-of-function research. Nothing happens to them. It's a remarkable thing. And by the way, Trump won't do anything either, which frustrates me. Now, the other thing, which is kind of wild here and bonkers, and I'm glad he called them out, Bill Maher scolds his own audience over the weekend for laughing about the second Trump assassination attempt. Folks, these people are sick. These people are deranged and sick. There's something wrong with them. I don't know what it is. I wouldn't be laughing if Joe Biden was shot. I wouldn't think it's funny. Now, people were hounding me because I posted a video over the weekend, which we talked about on Saturday, and people are unsubscribing because I posted that video of Hezbollah, these terrorists getting their hands and heads and stuff blown off. They are upset because I'm talking about terrorists, and I was laughing at the fact that it was a remarkable strategy that I'm sitting there going, whoa, crazy thing that terrorists are getting what's gotten to them for a long time finally. And they're losing their ish over it. Somehow they start chanting Free Palestine when I'm talking about Hezbollah. Now, I don't feel bad because I know that these people love terrorism. When you're sitting there going, well, civilians, babies, and children, why do babies have pagers and walkie-talkies? Could somebody, for the love of God, the patriots in the chat, answer me that? Why are babies getting blown up with pagers? Like, are they hooking their pager onto their baby? They're like, well, children are dying. I asked, literally, no joke, less than 30 seconds before we entered that segment on the live show, I asked, hey, how many civilians died because of this? Because I'm sure there had to be some screw up, right? Of course there was, and I'm not for civilians getting hurt or dying. I mean, you can only say it until you're blue in the face. But because people have an attention span of a gnat, they can't sit there and actually look at your whole context. They just see a short clip that you post and go, well, he's for civilians dying.
So let's not bury the lead. The big story this week, they tried to shoot Trump again. That's not funny. Okay. I'm being serious now. That's the second time this happened. I said this before. There can be no fuzz on this. This is not funny. Okay? It's not okay. It's not okay to wish it happened. Well, this is a problem. People, well, I mean, look, this happens too frequently. I'm sorry. This happened on the golf course. A guy was laying in wait, and it happens too much. In fact, besides the shooter, there were two other shooters beside him waiting to play through. This has got to stop.
Now, here's the thing. I kind of don't want to hound the audience too much because when you're a comedian and you're constantly kind of a smartass, and it's nothing against Bill Maher, by the way. I just want to point out when you're kind of a smartass all the time and that's all you're doing is constantly doing bit after bit, some people are not capable of kind of reading the room. Some people aren't capable of seeing, hey, is this guy really joking? And they just take it as a joke. So I don't want to hound them too much here where you're there for laughter. You're there. I'm assuming they thought the guy was joking in some way, shape, or form. Okay, I always try to give the benefit of the doubt. So I wanted to make sure we bring that up for all you. I don't know if you saw that. Little baby beeper boom boom is a common toy, maybe. Maybe Shib, maybe over there, but I don't know, man. It's here. Let me see if I can pull up in real time the actual. Because I do want to cover this because it is frustrating for me to see people say stuff like this. I want to make sure the video doesn't play. Here's what one person said. So this is again, we covered this over the weekend, but this one's new. I know it's lengthy. Glad you think terrorism and blowing up people and children with their devices is funny. By the way, never said that. It's a remarkable thing. Never said that I thought it was funny that people, meaning civilians and children with their devices is funny. Never said that. By the way, like I said, if you just look at 20 seconds before I entered that article, this article here, you would see that I said, hey, does anybody know if civilians or children were harmed or anything like that? Because that's I don't like that. Look, I'll be unsubscribing. Look, folks, I love you, Patriots. Maybe the show's not for everybody. I'm not a corporation. I've always said that. I'm just some dude in my closet. If you don't like the show, fucking unsubscribe then. I don't give a shit. It's so odd to me that people, hold on, we'll come back to this. It's so odd to me that people are like, well, I'm going to unsubscribe. I don't care. Yo, we're barely making any money off. That's fine. Even if I was, go somewhere else. There's thousands of other places to watch. It's so odd to me. Like this, nobody in here goes to somebody else's channel and because something they don't like that was said, go, well, I'm gonna unsubscribe. Then do it. Why do you feel the need to sit there and comment going, I'm gonna leave your channel? Okay. Peace. And by the way, I told the guy to unsubscribe. I said, I like how you add things into that I never said. I would prefer you actually unsubscribe, which is true. If this isn't working and you're not able to actually understand things, yeah, maybe it is time to unsubscribe. Because laughing at death, murder, and war is downright evil and sick. By the way, I literally said it wasn't funny and that I was laughing more so at the remarkable thing that you see in spy movies of using pagers and walkie-talkies to blow something up. Like, you have to admit, has anybody in their lifetime, and we got people in here that are 80 years old and up, has anybody, a single person in this chat, there's like well over 100 people watching this, has anybody ever seen anything like this? Yeah, thank you. Nobody has. But you do know that the elites that hate you and all American patriots are the same people running Israel, right? This guy's clearly deranged. The Jews control the DNC Uniparty, the mainstream media, the entire entertainment industry, the entire American government, really at this point. The same organizations, couldn't even spell that correctly, that you know to be corrupt and spend your videos speaking against. I'm speaking against terrorists. We're speaking against terrorists. Is this guy in the chat? Is he actually a subscriber? Are you in here? When the Jewish ran deep state that abhors you and owns America decides to just blow up all Trump supporter Republicans with their devices. This is how deranged these people are. Could be your kid next, Brad. I don't have a kid. But haha, right? So hilarious that the Jews are blowing civilians and people they hate up. No, the context is about Hezbollah. You see how it says Hezbollah up there? I know you can't read, but you see it there? Yeah, good. That's called a terrorist organization, buddy. But I know your head's not on straight. Yeah, I know things aren't working coherently, just like the guy you probably voted for. Maybe the guy's a Trump supporter. You know, if that's a Trump supporter, that's a big slap in the face to Trump supporters. So if you're in here, I'm trying to see if he's in the chat at all. Probably not. Maybe he unsubscribed. Good, because we don't want him here anyways. Anyways, let's jump back into the news. A little bit of a rant there, folks, but I always find it interesting for you to show that there's interesting people out there. Yes, thank you, Tyler. Hit the like button, please. Greatly appreciated, folks. Hit that like button. We got a lot of people in here. We should have like 100 likes. Help me out a little bit. So, Kansas Democrat voter, I'm going to close my eyes and vote for closed borders, less taxes, and more reasonable energy costs. If you close your eyes and vote that way, it's a pretty simple choice because both candidates have a history. There is kind of a backstory behind this. Let's check this clip out.
Roger in Kansas on the line for Democrats. Good morning, Roger.
Yes, I have where my main issue, I'm going to close my eyes, and then I'm going to vote for closed borders. I'm going to vote for less taxes. I'm going to vote for more reasonable energy costs. And if you vote, close your eyes and vote that way, it's a pretty simple choice because both candidates have a history. So you just vote on that, and I don't have to tell you who I'm voting for.
Roger. And
that was on Washington Journal C-SPAN, by the way. And he's right. Look, if you just close your eyes and just sit there, let's just do this. You don't have to close your eyes, right? Just do a printout of who's who. Don't put the names at the top and then see which ones you like better. You're probably going to end up coming out with Trump on top. Now, you got Fetterman coming out. I can't believe this, you guys. I've actually switched my thinking on Fetterman, sort of. Which, one of the biggest surprises in politics that Fetterman, the guy that doesn't have his head on straight, somehow at times has his head on straight more than actual Democrats. I can't believe I'm even saying this. Here we go.
Talked about this quite a bit. Vice President Harris, as you know, once supported a ban on fracking when she was running for president in 2020. She even sued the Obama administration to prevent fracking off California's coast. Now she says she will not ban the practice as president. Why should voters trust that that is really what the vice president believes?
They shouldn't. That's why they shouldn't.
It's so strange why we just keep talking about fracking. Back in 2020.
Well, because energy prices are through the roof, you idiot. And she's a liar. That's why we keep bringing it up. And maybe the fact of there's people, maybe constituents in your area that find it important.
I said that that might be an issue, but it's not going to be a defining issue. And now in 2024, we're still trying to talk about fracking. And now the other side, they're talking about eating cats and geese and dogs and saying absurd things and talking about how if Trump doesn't win, he said that, you have to blame the Jews on that, and just absurd things, like having a serious policy conversation when the other side is just absolutely on fire. And here's where we are. And here we are also.
Does anybody find it interesting that they keep talking about very specific points, meaning the Democrats, like the cats, dogs, and geese thing? By the way, it is plausible that somebody would come from a third world country and not have work and think it's acceptable to eat somebody's pets. Like that would not be out of the realm of possibility for me, for somebody to think and do those types of things. Now, people are getting that because constituents from Ohio were saying and reporting that these things are taking place. Now, whether they're true or not, the whole purpose was bringing up that this is what people were saying and maybe should be addressed in some way, shape, or form. And now it's actually being talked about. John, your party lost 320,000 children to forced labor and sex trafficking. They're being raped, John. They're being murdered. Okay, you could bring up the cats and dog shit all you want, but we're actually bringing up real issues like fracking because people want cheaper products and services, which helps bring down the cost of those things because everything deals with freight. While your party wants to remove fracking, but they say they want it all of a sudden, right? Remember, they're all for saving the climate, folks, saving the world and the globe. We're all supposed to be dead in 2 years, according to AOC and the Democrat Party. You got 2 years left on your life, according to that party. So yeah, John, I think it is a little bit of an issue because your party has sitting there and espoused crazy ass ideas. And the only thing that you can really bring up is the Jew thing and then the cats and dogs, while your party has not just said crazy ass things, but more so has done crazy ass things, John. It's one thing to say things, what Trump does a lot. He says a lot of things, but he doesn't exactly do stupid ass things like your party does.
It's going to be very close in Pennsylvania, and it's not going to be defined by fracking.
Well, we are talking about it because, of course, it supported 120,000 jobs back in 2022. Let me read you some of what you have said about fracking. In 2016, you called it a stain on Pennsylvania. In 2018, you said you don't support fracking at all. But then in 2022, you said you absolutely support fracking.
Hey, finally, Meet the Press does some sort of journalism. Now, I'm thinking that they're going after this guy because he sat there and hounded his own party before. But again, it just shows you the flip-flopping that these people do. It's a remarkable. All you need to know is what your constituents want and go with that. I don't understand why it's always the I aspect of these politicians. You represent us, assholes. All of them. I'm calling every politician an a-hole because they represent us. They don't represent themselves and their ideas. We put them forth to represent our ideas.
Fracking. Senator, what exactly do you like about fracking now?
It's strange for somewhat weird gotcha, kind of taking quotes out of context. And, here I am now. I'm a United States Senator, and I won by 5 points, a record margin back in 22. And again, it might be an issue in fracking, and I fully support fracking. So does the Vice President Harris. And now, if you want to have a serious conversation about policy, then I would challenge Trump and Vance to have one other than talking about eating pets.
And we'll have plenty of questions for
another Democratic shill, right? Oh, eating pet, like that's literally all they have. You know what I mean? It's literally all they have is that aspect. By the way, there's still reports coming out that people are doing that. So I don't know what to make of it, but that's still reports are coming out. Now, you got J.D. Vance showing up to a supermarket, doing his rounds. Donald Trump's doing interviews. And we'll continue to bring you more news here. And speaking of the mainstream media that we were just hounding earlier, you have this MSNBC journalist defending Kamala as she continues to hide from the media. Folks, she does not do any interviews. She doesn't do anything. I try to sit there and understand why this media apparatus sits there and rubs the feet and shoulders of the Democrat Party constantly when they don't give them any airtime. Like, they don't go out of their way to take care of the media, where Donald Trump, J.D. Vance are out there each and every day. Vivek Ramaswamy, you got Megyn Kelly. I understand she's not really with the Trump team, but she's even doing a bunch of interviews. You got Elon Musk sitting there joining them. You got Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr. I mean, the Republican Party is out there in every way, shape, or form, but the Democrats are sitting there hiding behind closed doors with their tail between their legs.
Voter, I'm never going to vote for Trump, but I'm not sure I want to vote for Kamala. And my fear is that she doesn't really have a very good command of what she wants to do as president. It would be great for her to sit down with you or George Stephanopoulos or you, Stephanie, and get a succession
As if she'd sit down with me.
Why not? George W. Bush, 25 years ago, was asked if he could name the president of Pakistan and other people. He had no idea. And people said this guy has no command of foreign policy. And it turned out to be a prescient set of questions. It's not too much to ask Kamala, say, are you for a Palestinian state if Hamas is going to run that state?
Okay.
Yes or no?
And let's say you don't like her answer. Are you going to vote for Donald Trump?
No, I'm not.
Kamala
I just said I'm not going to vote for her.
Harris is not running for perfect. She's running against Trump. We have two choices. And so there are some things you might not know.
We're at the spinning wheel of death. Maybe we change the quality a little bit. Just for a little bit. That ain't going to work.
Her answer to. And in 2024, unlike 2016 for a lot of the American people, we know exactly what Trump will do, who he is, and the kind of threat he is to democracy.
I don't know.
I haven't seen this before, but there's the rhetoric again. There's the rhetoric. He's a threat to this democracy. Somehow he's already led 4 years and the democracy's still standing. Remember, in 2020 as well as 2016, right? He's going to destroy the republic. He's going to be the end of democracy. And everything was fine, right? People were flourishing. Black people, Asian people, white people, Hispanics, like every American was flourishing. And now everyone's hurting. No policy from Kamala, but she's going to give you a $50,000 tax deduction when you start up a business. Notice when it's everything that you start up, like when you have a kid that you can't afford, but good thing you get $6,000 that first year. Woo!
It's clear to me how there could be an informed.
The problem that a lot of people have with Kamala is we don't know her answer to anything, okay?
But you know
and
his answer to everything.
And that's why...
Exactly. Yes. Good job.
I would never vote for him, and people shouldn't vote for him. But people also are expected to have some idea of what the program is of the person you're supposed to vote for. You're just not supposed to say, well, you have to vote for Y because X is this, that, and the other. Let's find out a little bit more. And I don't think it's a lot to ask her to sit down for a real interview as opposed to a puff piece in which she describes like her feelings of growing up in Oakland with nice lawns.
Then I would just say to that, when you move to Nirvana, give me your real estate broker's number and I'll be your next door neighbor. We don't live there.
Wow, I wonder who she paid to come up with that little joke. What I always find fascinating is that Democrats and the progressive left don't ever take their vote or the words that they say and would actually apply it to their own life. What I mean by that is you have somebody here that this lady's going to vote for, meaning she's going to vote for Kamala Harris, that has no policy, that has no plan, has no agenda, and has a track record of terrible policy and ideas. If you just sat there and took what I just said and apply it to your own life, like you were going to hire this person, meaning vote for them, because you have to connect the dots for them. They're not able to do it. You got to connect the dots in real time for Democrats. So I guess let's treat the Democrats like they're elementary school kids. Instead of hiring somebody to fix your finances, you're going to do an analogy here, Democrats, where you're going to sit there and vote for a politician to run the country in the same way that you would hire somebody to run your finances for you. Okay. Do you see you got that, Democrats? Okay, good. Pay attention. Focus. All that brain power. Good. Because not much, but let's go. Yeah. So in the same way that you hire somebody to do your finances, you're going to vote for somebody to run something, running finances, run the country. Would you hire somebody that had a terrible track record of running everybody else's finances? Would you hire somebody that didn't have a plan for you and your finances on how you're going to sit there and get out of debt, or how you're going to sit there and make your life better, how you're going to become more wealthy, how you're going to actually save for retirement? Like, what is your strategy? Are you going to hire somebody that has no plan for you, but you're going to sit there and put forth everything into them? In the same way that Kamala Harris has no plan. She has no strategy. Her history sucks. She's driven people into debt. She's driven this country into debt. She has no clue what the hell's going on. Would you sit there and apply that whole thing to your own life? Again, well, Donald Trump's going to destroy this country. He has no track record of doing that. It's just something you fabricated because you don't like the guy. He says some rough things. He's a New Yorker. Go to New York and talk to a New Yorker. Go anywhere on the East Coast, Boston, New York City. They all talk a certain way. It's different in different areas. They're just rougher people. And that's fine. I got no qualms with that. I'd rather somebody shoot me straight. Hey, I'm walking here, and give you the bird. You know what I mean? That's what they do. Or everybody honks their horn on the East Coast for some ungodly reason. But that's who they are. I care more about what somebody does than really what they say. I just don't understand why they don't apply it to their own life. I want Donald Trump to run my finances. The guy's a billionaire. Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. The guy did a great job running the country. I'm not saying it was perfect. He's not a politician. The guy's trying to figure out what the hell's going on, fighting against the Democrat Party every single day, fighting with the deep state every single day, and still got a lot of stuff done. All the while, the deep state is in the pockets of the Democrat Party, or the Democrats are in the pocket of the deep state, one or the other, and they can't get anything done. So that's everything you need to know. Now, I'm almost even hesitant to talk about this next story because remember, they're not capable of making connections. They're not capable of taking things in context. So let's be very clear here. This story I'm bringing up right now is going to be talking about terrorists, okay? So for all those people that keep putting like free Palestine, I don't want any harm against the Palestinians. We got to be very, very clear because they can't sit there and actually take things in context. What I'm about to talk about, listen carefully. This isn't for the Patriots. Patriots is not for you, what I'm about to say. You idiots who can't sit there and make connections. I'm about to talk about terrorists. I'm not talking about civilians. I'm not talking about innocent children or innocent lives. We're about to talk about terrorists strictly in context. If I laugh, it's because I don't like terrorists. I don't like evil. They're pure evil, okay? Again, nothing about children and civilians. Don't want any harm. Israel unleashes fury on Hezbollah in new round of strikes. So now they're not doing pagers anymore or walkie-talkies. Now they're just dropping bombs. IDF unleashed a new round of attacks against Iranian-backed Hezbollah terrorists in southern Lebanon on Saturday, conducting airstrikes that resulted in powerful explosions ripping through the night sky. I mean, folks, some of these explosions were massive if you saw the videos. I can't show the videos because then we just get flagged on YouTube, right? Because they hate us. The IDF completed an additional series of strikes in southern Lebanon since the afternoon with the direction of the IDF Intelligence Directorate. The IAF struck approximately 290 targets, including thousands of launcher barrels alongside additional terrorist infrastructure in multiple areas in southern Lebanon. Now, even though I preface this, that they're going after terrorist sites, they'll still, for some ungodly reason, write Free Palestine. It's odd as hell. It is odd as hell. Again, I don't want any harm to happen to the Israelis. I don't want any harm to happen to the Palestinians. I would love for people to get along. It's not my war. I'm not even in the middle of it. I'm just merely bringing you the news. But again, when somehow you mention anything about terrorists, you get these people saying Free Palestine for ungodly reason. And I think we know why some of those people are saying that. Terry with the 99 cents. Thank you so much, Terry. Always contributing. And you're a Bald Brad member. Greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. You guys always supporting me. And really, you're supporting the cause because it helps us get conservative thought and ideas out there to new viewers. And let me know. Let me tell you, they need the connections being made. They really do. They really do. This next one, you guys. Hit that like button if you're enjoying it. If you feel like we deserve your subscription, we do this every single morning, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on weekdays. And then we do a sprinkle of politics on the weekends. Well, Doug, Kamala Harris's husband, says it's not fair to criticize. I can't even get it out. Fuck. Says it's not fair to criticize Kamala Harris for the administration's failures. Oh, it's always someone else's fault. Mm-hmm. Yep. So Vice President Kamala Harris's husband, Doug, claims during an interview this week that it was unfair. Oh, it's unfair to criticize his wife's performance over the last 3.5 years because she was not the president. Then why talk about, well, she was in the meetings. She's the one that was the tiebreaker, right, for the vote, right? The Inflation Reduction Act, right? Sitting there saying, well, I'm the last person to leave the room. Yeah. So Doug made the remarks during a softball ABC News interview. Of course, it's from Good Morning America, and it's from ABC, legacy media, Walt Disney Company, which came just days after the New York's debate between Harris and former President Donald Trump that was extremely biased against the Republican nominee. The anchor here asked Doug if he thought it was fair that his wife was being criticized for the numerous failings of the administration, even though she was named the border czar, bragged about being the last person in the room of Afghanistan, and the tie-breaking vote for the American Rescue Plan, the legislation that triggered the inflation crisis. Quote, she's the vice president, not the president. Well, no, it's like the same talking point as she did during the debate. I'm not Joe Biden. I'm not Joe Biden, and neither is he. Well, the vice president is there as part of the administration, not leading the administration. So as president, she's going to be able to put forth her policies and plans and effectuate those. What's her plans and policy, though, Doug? She has none. She really has none. And we're still waiting to hear it. And by the way, it's like breaking news this week that she's supposed to be coming out with her economic policy any time or any day now. We're about 40 days from the election.
Who may criticize and say, well, she hasn't done that her 3.5 years in office as vice president. Do you think that's unfair?
Yeah, she's the vice president, not the president. So, the vice president is there as part of the administration, not leading the administration. So as president, she's going to be able to put forth her policies and plans and effectuate those.
For those who may criticize.
Always a softball. Again, no questions about the children, no questions about this or that. I also brought this up earlier in the show, this next article. I want to make sure we get to it before time ends. House votes to increase Trump's security days after second assassination attempt. Now, I'm going to take this with a grain of salt because we were told after the first assassination attempt that they were going to up his security. And I felt like I did see that at his RNC, that there was clearly a big difference in the people that were walking around compared to the people walking around in the Butler, Pennsylvania one. But now they're saying they're going to do it again. So the House voted 405-0, which, damn, meaning everybody voted in favor of this, to adopt a bill that would standardize security for presidents, vice presidents, and major presidential and vice presidential candidates. The vote comes days after a man was arrested again for trying to ultimately assassinate Donald Trump. We as a federal government have a responsibility to ensure the safety and well-being of these candidates. One of them is going to be president, and the election should be decided by voters at the ballot box, not by an assassin's bullet. Correct. But notice what they said here. The federal government has the responsibility to ensure the safety and well-being of these candidates, but also the American citizens, which for some reason in the past 4 years, they've really put on the back burner of making sure you and I are safe. The fact that there's known terrorists. When I say known, that means that the government knows the license plate of the cars they are driving. They know where these people live. And for some reason, they're still letting them live here. There's people here from Benghazi that sat there and went after American citizens. For some reason, our government is allowing people come in this country that are violent gang members, sex traffickers, drug traffickers, all these things, murderers. And for some reason, they're allowing it to happen. I don't know what the agenda is, you guys. And I think it might be the fact that there's just really bad actors in our highest levels of position on both sides, by the way, but mostly the Democrat Party. And I think their goal is to tear this country down. I think their goal is to ruin Western civilization. I think we've have a point now where we've allowed people to immigrate into this country that don't share our vision, don't share our values, that are on visas in some way, shape, or form, and don't want to see this country flourish anymore. I think people have such a bad taste about America in their mouth that they've sat here and have been playing the long game for quite some time. And now they're in the highest levels of office. They've infiltrated every industry in our country and are driving it into the ground. I really do think that. And that's why I said the most important election of our lifetime, because Trump hopefully will sit there and mitigate that in some way, shape, or form, like Vivek Ramaswamy wants to do, where he wants to get rid of all the bad actors, actually drain the swamp. And I think Donald Trump has figured it out this time because he has a good team around him. This is a strong team. RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, Vivek Ramaswamy. He has Ron DeSantis, everybody in the RNCs around him. So he has good people this time rather than like John Bolton or whatever the hell that guy's name was, right? All this quick turnover, these holdouts from the Obama administration and the Clintons and all those people that support those knuckleheads on the Democrat side of the aisle sitting there leaking stuff about Donald Trump left and right. So I think he has his head on straight in terms of who he wants to help run things. And I think he has the dream team right now. We will see if that's true. Now, this is going to go a little bit too far than what I wanted to, but if you look at the way Ronald Reagan ran his administration, was very similar to how Donald Trump ran his first term, where he left it up to the people that he hired to basically kind of run things, and then he oversaw it. And that led Reagan into a lot of problems as well. There's a great book. I mean, it has to be like 1,500 pages. There's a great book by Lou Cannon all about Ronald Reagan. And it goes into detail, folks. This guy followed Reagan through his administration and is writing down actual transcripts of what was said in these conversations. And it really led Reagan into some areas of trouble because he let people run things that maybe should have ran things in the first place. And we saw that a lot in Donald Trump's first administration. And I think he figured out the recipe now where he needs people that are in the correct actual position, not because somebody told him so, but because he's actually seen the things that they've done and heard them say. So like Vivek Ramaswamy, like J.D. Vance, like Tulsi Gabbard, like RFK Jr. These people have their head on straight somewhat, and hopefully will turn things around. We also have here where the House, even though they're allowing Donald Trump to have more security, they're also still doubling down on calling Trump a threat. So multiple House Democrats said on Thursday that they would continue to call former President Donald Trump a threat to democracy, even after calls for the party to tone down its language in the wake of the second assassination attempt. The reason why, because I think behind closed doors, I think they actually want to see this guy dead. I really do. And the reason why I bring that up is because it's Democrats that want to remove his Secret Service detail originally, if he was ever to be actually indicted under some sort of BS hoax, right, regarding all these trials in these court indictments. If he was to be put in prison, they wanted to remove his Secret Service detail. Well, the only reason you'd want to do that is because you want him dead in prison. In the same way here is that we still don't have any answers from Butler, Pennsylvania. We still don't know anything. Remarkable. We have one of the biggest intelligence apparatuses the world has ever seen in human history. Not a clue. It's so funny how, for some reason, the administration that says they're going to be the most transparent administration that's ever existed never gives us any answers on anything. We still don't even know who had the cocaine in the White House. And it's funny because they are actually the reversal of transparent. They're a cover-up administration. They covered up Joe Biden's cognitive decline. They sat there and covered up the Hunter Biden laptop. They sat there and covered up the allegations that are taking place regarding the Biden family corruption. They've covered up everything. We don't know shit about anything anymore. Do you notice that? Do you notice that we don't know nothing that's actually going on in the real world because they sit there and cover up everything? So much so that, remember, Kamala Harris during the debate had requirements that we weren't even allowed to bring up Joe Biden's cognitive health, the fact that she covered that up. We're not even supposed to bring up the fact that she was an attorney for San Francisco. She was like the DA. We couldn't bring that up because her job sucked. She sucked at her job. And we can't bring up the fact that there's allegations against her brother-in-law for taking taxpayers' money. It's amazing how we can't bring up anything anymore. And Donald Trump actually, this is what I don't like that he did. He actually agreed to it. I would have never agreed to it. No. I think it's Donald Trump's way or the highway. Also, I want to give a shout out to 5G free, folks. If you haven't heard about this, I want to talk about things that people are actually afraid to say out loud. Who is in control of our country? Who's in control of the nukes, folks? It ain't Joe Biden. It's not him. Meanwhile, we have the Russian ships off the coast of Florida right now and full-blown wars in Ukraine and Israel, as well as taking place with the terrorists around the freaking world. The world is at its most unstable point since World War II, and nuclear weapons, the stakes are 10 times higher. Who do these people think are going to sit there and run the country? We need Donald Trump, folks. We need Donald Trump to keep us safe. Every prepper needs to have a Radio Guard Ace, the only FDA-approved drug to treat radioactive fallout. Only the feds had it until now. We've talked about this in the past, folks. There's a lot of scary stuff that could take place here. That's why Rebel partnered with 5G Free, the only company in the world that has a supply of Radio Guard Ace and the ability to prescribe it. Prophylact Likely. Is that likely? Get your radiation energy emergency kit. I'm all over the place with Radio Guard Ace, potassium iodide, Zofran, and the Geiger counter. There's simply no other tool in your arsenal to protect against the radioactive threat. Go to 5gfree.com code studio to save 15% off. Again, that's 5gfree.com code studio to save 15% and get your radiation kit. Now, I'll tell you what, folks, it's been crossing my mind a lot lately to become one of those preppers if Kamala Harris gets into office, because we're only going in the wrong direction right now, and you're seeing what's taking place all around the world, folks. Make sure you're prepping yourself, because I'm talking like start getting barrels with water, put a little bit of freaking bleach in there, right? Do the correct amount. Make sure you get that, food ration stash and ammo, all that stuff, even though ammo's through the roof. And keep you and your family safe, folks. Keep the Patriots safe. Well, we're going to end it there, folks. We pretty much went through everything today, which is rare for us. Normally, we only get through half a show, but now we're definitely going through a lot. Is Diddy the distraction from the nuclear sub off Florida? Maybe. Who knows? We'll see what comes out of that. If nothing comes out, it just shows you the deep state's at work, folks. In the same way, we still do not have the Epstein list. We don't know anything about Jeffrey Epstein. We don't know anything about anything because, again, it's the most cover-up administration we've ever seen in this country's history. With that being said, folks, if you think we deserve your subscription, hit that like and subscribe button. We also have a membership, 99 cents a month, or if you go over to Rumble, it's $4.99, but we get a lot more of that actually coming into us so that we could sit there and upgrade the show as well. So, and you know what? Screw YouTube. Go to Rumble and become a member over there. It helps us more greatly than it does over at YouTube at this point. But don't feel like you have to, folks. It's just there because people ask, how can I support you? You can also go to baldbrad.com. We have a book, Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. You can get yourself a copy on Amazon. That helps support as well. With that being said, again, hit that like button, subscribe, leave us a comment down below when this thing ultimately uploads. And folks, I'll see you tomorrow here on The Bald Brad Show. Take care, Patriots.